What's up YouTube? Wrongway213 here, going over a build video for the Icy Spore Survivor. That's a Frostwilder build. It's going to be the Brr-Zerker, Spore Warden, Brr-Zerker, whichever, no matter. We're going to be using Blizzard, but this is not a Blizzard build like you've probably been seeing. I went a different way. So you're going to spec into Ancestral Frost, 5 out of 5. This whole build is about doing just crazy frost damage. Icebreaker, you're going to go 3 out of 3. Same reason, just crazy frost damage. The old ways, we're getting up in enemies' faces, and this build is very focused on tanking. If Survivor in the name didn't give it away, you're not going to be going down much on this build. When you are, you should be getting right back up. So yeah, this is going to be a very useful skill. We're actually not spec'd into Cold Snap. That's from my armor. Unarmored defense, incredibly useful skill. It's going to synergize with our rings, and also it's going to make you tankier. Blood Frenzy, it's going to make you tankier. You're going to be restoring health when you kill enemies. It's a no-brainer for a tanking build that does a lot of damage. Relentless Rage, it's a no-brainer for a tanking build. When you do go down with this skill, you're going to be able to have your little buddy over here from Medicinal Mushroom. Your little mushroom pal will have, he's going to have a much longer amount of time to come get you up when you're spec'd into Relentless Rage. Because what this skill does, it keeps you in Save Your Soul for a very long time, as long as you're doing damage to enemies. So next, over on the Spore Warden tree, we are going to spec into Bounty of the Hunt. We do want our action skill cooldown. We're proccing kill skills very often. This isn't a Blizzard build, but Blizzard is very powerful, especially when you're spec'd into frost damage like we are. Eagle Eye, this is very much a gun damage build. Eagle Eye, I believe, synergizes really well down here with Play the Angles. I think this is why we're critting so much, or at least part of it. Very important skill to have. Affinity, we do want our Blizzard to be hitting harder when we're using it. It's just that we're not pulling it out on a regular basis. We're going to focus more on spell casting and gun damage, but we do want Blizzard to hit hard when we need it. Quiver of Hoarding, this is one of the most important skills in the entire build. This is just going to make it so, we're using the liquid cooling with this build. You're not going to have to worry about ammo consumption at all. You're probably not even going to have to switch weapons if you don't want to. Medicinal Mushroom, we already talked about that a little bit. It's just going to make your little shroom buddy come and res you, which is very useful in any kind of a build with any focus on tanking. You're always going to want res. Windrunner, we just needed to get down the tree. This was the most useful skill we didn't already have, in my opinion. So we go 2 out of 3 in Windrunner. We're going to take 1 out of 1 in Headhunter, just because we're doing a lot of critical damage with guns. So we'll take that extra 25%. Thanks. And then, if I can click it, Wrath of Nature. Now this is where I'm going to diverge very far from what other builds are doing. I am absolutely having you spec 3 out of 3 into Wrath of Nature, but I'm not going to advise you to take armor that'll make this a 6 out of 3. We've got something better for this build. This is an incredibly powerful skill, but this is not a Blizzard build. This is not a Ricochet build. This is not a barrage build. This is going a little different direction. We're going to take the massive extra damage we get, but we're not going to focus the build around it. Play the Angles. This, you're doing crazy crits. You're doing just crazy crits. You're hitting enemies all over the place. It synergizes really well with Eagle Eye up here, and you're just hitting enemies with crits all over the place. Let's look at the inventory. So the liquid cooling, this is by far the most important item of the build, with the enchantment on spellcast, increase frost damage by 30% for 5 seconds. This is your bread and butter. This is what's going to get you through. The Nightshade, we have this one with on spellcast, increased dark magic damage by 30% for 5 seconds. This might not make any sense yet why we'd want this enchantment. It will. These other two items are just filler. They're good guns. The Chilling Gluttony of the Carver, the Voltaic Livewire, the Wind. You're only going to be using your first two, but these other two are nice to have. The Livewire is really useful if you have a bunch of enemies bunched up for, you know, but you're really just going to be using the first two. Your melee weapon is going to be the Twin Soul of the Assassin with Caustic and Echo. You want Caustic because we're doing crazy status damage. And Echo you're going to want because it deals 10% of all non-melee damage over the last 10 seconds. That's absolutely crazy because we're doing tons of gun damage and tons of spell damage. Yeah, that's something you're going to want. The rings, this is where it gets interesting. So we have the Focused Mood Ring of the Vision with gun damage, pistol critical hit damage, SMG critical hit damage. As you can see, those are our two main weapons. And then while ward is not full, effects are increased by 100%. We're running unarmored defense, and that means that our ward cannot ever be full. These rings are awesome. By these, I mean this as well. Allies Mood Ring of the Sight has that same, while ward is not full, effects are increased 100%. Our ward's never full. This one's going to give us another 14.8 pistol critical hit damage, and this one's going to give us some dark magic efficiency. Now let me show you why we would, oh, and we got companion damage for our little shroom friend. So let me show you why we want all this dark magic stuff. The Ranger's Corrupted Plate Mail of the Empowered Shot. Brr-Zerker power, Spore Warden power, 29.6% gun damage, 35.6% maximum health, 17.8% all damage dealt. Pretty much god roll passives on this item. It's just incredible. But it converts 30% of your damage to dark magic damage and increases your dark magic efficiency by 30%. So now, we're not just doing frost damage, we're also doing dark magic damage. That gives us 2 elemental damage types, and it just helps for tanking, because we're now leeching off of enemies on top of Blood Frenzy, on top of the other tanking skills that we have. We're just getting so much health back all the time, and it's, a second damage type. When you see how high we're spec'd into Wisdom, you're going to see why we want a second damage type. For the shield, I'm using the Triggering Static Charge. Honestly, this is the highest capacity shield that I've found so far. If you find something with a higher capacity, run that. And get a decent enchant on it, roll something decent and run that. You just want the most capacity that you can find. The Eagle-Eyed Sacrificial Steep of Honesty with frost damage, Spore Warden power, gun handling, and gun mag size. This is going to summon a Sacrificial Skeep every 30 seconds. It can occur. When you hit 50% health, this thing's going to come out and it's just going to throw health at you. It's going to refill your health. If you're in Save Your Soul and you can't get out, if there's no mobs around, and for some, if your shroom buddy is dead and you can't hold yourself up forever just by keeping Relentless proc by shooting at the boss, that Sacrificial Skeep will come out and you can actually shoot that thing. It'll be a one-hit kill and it'll take you right out of Save Your Soul. It's kind of a get out of jail free card. And then here's our spell. We're not rocking the Buffmeister, and this makes it so we don't need to spec anything into intelligence. It's the Jacketed Glacial Cascade on spellcast, increased gun damage by 30%. This thing is very spammable, and it does just a crazy, crazy amount of frost damage, which is what we're doing. Let me show you the hero points. I spec'd all the way into Constitution. At first I tried Attunement instead of Wisdom. The cooldown never got where I wanted it to be. put the points back in wisdom instead, and the status damage is nasty. It is really crazy. So I recommend going full constitution, full wisdom, and then the rest in strength. I did use the village idiot background. I put 3 points into intelligence just to even it back out. I didn't want it to be lagging behind the other stats because we do cast a lot of spells, but you don't need anything more than that. Just get whatever skills that you have that have taken a hit from your backstory, get them back up to where they should be, and then dump everything into Constitution and Wisdom, and then the rest in Strength. Alright. So now let's show how the build plays a little bit. I'm just gonna jump into a Chaos 20 run here. You'll spend more time looking for enemies than you will actually killing them. Other than my aim being garbage, as you can see, you just kind of cut through everything. And there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a nice day.